You are born in Ming Dynasty China in a village built on rice, rain, and routine. The air smells like wet earth in the morning and smoke by night. Your family lives in a wooden house at the edge of the paddies, where frogs sing after sunset and everyone knows everyone else's business before breakfast. Your father is a rice farmer with rough hands and a laugh that reaches the yard before he does. Your mother is quieter. She speaks with her eyes more than her mouth, and when she braids your hair, she does it so gently it feels like a blessing. You are their first daughter, which means people look at you with a special kind of calculation. Not cruelly. Just practically. One day, you will leave. One day, you will belong to another house. As a child, this means nothing to you. Your world is still small enough to be kind. You run barefoot between the laundry lines. You chase dragonflies with your sisters. You steal dumplings off the cooling tray and blame your brothers. In the rainy season, you and the other girls build tiny pretend homes from reeds and mud. Then you play marriage. One of you becomes the bride. One becomes the husband. Someone always insists on being the mother-in-law so she can act disapproving and make everyone laugh. And every single time, the bride wins. The bride gets the red cloth. The bride gets carried away. The bride gets a future. That is what marriage looks like to you. Not sacrifice. Not bargaining. Not grief and silk wrapping. Just red sleeves and a better life. By the time you are 13, you have watched enough weddings to know how your own is supposed to feel. First the matchmaker comes. Then the adults whisper. Then your mother starts sewing for no reason she will admit out loud. Then the bride cries, the parents cry, the village smiles, and the sedan carries her away like a promise being kept. You do not fear this. You want it. Girls only a little older than you begin disappearing into marriage one by one. They leave as daughters and return during festivals as wives. They wear better fabrics. They sit straighter. Sometimes they bring babies. Everyone speaks to them differently, as if marriage has turned them from girls into something important. You want that too. Sometimes at night, you ask your mother what kind of husband you will get. You decide you will be tall, patient, and from a family with a warm kitchen and polished floors. You say he will have a laugh like your father's, only softer. Your mother keeps stitching and says nothing for so long that you think she did not hear you. Then, finally, she smiles. But it is a tired smile. The kind that arrives late and leaves quickly. A few weeks after your 14th birthday, the matchmaker arrives. You know she is rich before she even steps out of the sedan. Her robe is too fine for your village. Her hairpins catch the light. Jade earrings tap against her neck when she turns. Even the way she stands says she belongs to a world where people do not bend over muddy fields for a living. When she sees you, her expression sharpens. She compliments your face, your posture, your skin. She says your ancestors must have favored you. Then she asks to speak with your father privately. Your mother follows them inside without invitation. You stay in the yard pretending not to listen, but wood walls were not built to protect secrets. You catch pieces of the conversation drifting through the cracks. Merchant family. Good arrangement. Security. Auspicious. Fortunate girl. Then the low clink of coins. When they finally call you in, your father sits with his hands on his knees like he is trying not to look too pleased. Your mother sits beside him, looking as if she has swallowed something sharp. The proposal, your father says, comes from a wealthy merchant household in a mountain town. Their eldest son is in need of a bride. The family is respected. Their house is large. You would never know hunger again. You say yes almost before he finishes. Why would you hesitate? You are the daughter of a farmer. They are merchants. In one sentence, your future has transformed from muddy patties to polished wooden halls. It feels less like luck and more like proof that you were meant for something larger. That night, you tell your sisters. The next morning, your friends. By evening, half the village knows you are to marry into wealth. You repeat it so many times it begins to sound like a story even you would be jealous of if it belonged to someone else. Only your mother refuses to celebrate properly. Each time you speak too excitedly, she tells you not to boast. Not yet. Wait until everything is official. You laugh and ask why she looks so worried. Because fortune is easily offended, she says. But that answer means nothing to a girl who has already started imagining herself in red. Your mother begins sewing at once. Better cloth appears in the house, cloth your family would never normally buy. She works late into the night, mending, folding, preparing. Sometimes you wake and find her still sitting by the lamp with a half-finished sleeve in her lap. Other times she pulls you suddenly into an embrace and holds you too tightly, like someone afraid of losing her grip. You tell yourself this is normal. Parents cry at weddings. Mothers become emotional. Daughters leave home. There is no reason to think anything else. Then, one evening, you pass the storage room and see your father counting coins. Not one pouch. Two. He closes the second pouch as soon as he notices you in the doorway. You ask whether wealthy merchants really pay that much for a marriage arrangement. He says a fortunate match brings fortune to both households. Then he tells you not to worry about matters that belong to men. You leave. But for the first time, something cold moves quietly through your stomach. The bridal sedan arrives before sunrise a week later. It is lacquered red, glossy enough to reflect morning light. You had imagined this moment for years. Stepping toward it should feel like stepping into a dream. Instead, everything around you feels strangely heavy, as if the air itself knows something you do not. Your mother adjusts your sleeves with trembling fingers. Your father avoids your eyes. When you kneel for farewell, your mother starts crying so hard she cannot speak. Your father tells her to control herself. Then you are lifted into the sedan, and your old life begins to disappear one curtain sway at a time. The journey takes all day. Through the slit in the fabric, you watch the familiar fields flatten behind you. Rice paddies become scrubland. Scrubland becomes rising hills. By late afternoon, the roads narrow into mountain paths lined with dark pines. The air grows colder. Villages become scarcer. The world feels older here somehow, as if the mountains have been keeping their own secrets longer than the plains. By the time you reach the merchant town, the light is already fading. Stone houses lean close over narrow roads. Roofs curve differently here. The people who see your procession do not smile. They do not crowd near to admire the bride. Most step aside quickly. One old woman looks straight at your sedan as it passes, and the expression on her face is not respect. It is pity. The merchant house waits behind a high gate. In the courtyard stands the family that is supposed to become yours. The merchant himself is old and stern. His wife crosses the yard the moment you arrive and takes your hands before you are even fully out of the sedan. Her eyes are already wet. She tells you that you are welcome, but her voice breaks on the last word. No one brings your husband to meet you. Instead, they lead you to your room. It is beautiful. Red curtains hang from the bed. Red lanterns swing gently overhead. The quilt has been folded so neatly it looks ceremonial. A bronze mirror rests on the table beside combs and oil. Everything is arranged like a celebration waiting to begin. And then you see the altar. At first you notice the incense. Then the fruit offerings. Then the folded paper shoes, paper clothes, and paper money stacked with care beneath a framed portrait. The portrait is of a young man. Formal robes. Serious eyes. A face painted by memory into permanence. You know what paper offerings are for. Children know that much. They are for the dead. Your mouth goes dry. Still, your mind reaches for softer explanations. Maybe this is an honored ancestor. Maybe this room was once someone else's. Maybe. Your mother-in-law enters before the lie can settle. You ask when you will meet your husband. She pauses just a little too long. Then she says, soon. Very soon. That night, sleep does not come. The house groans softly in the dark. Every sound feels staged, as though the building itself is waiting for you to understand something. Eventually, needing air more than courage, you slip into the corridor and make your way toward the guest quarters where your parents have been given a room. A line of light glows beneath one door. Voices drift through it. The door is not fully shut. Inside, your father sits across from the merchant. The matchmaker stands beside the wall with her hands folded. On the table between them lies a pouch of coins so full the neck will barely tie. The merchant says, "My son should not be alone in the underworld." Your father says, "She is obedient. She will do what is required." Then the merchant pushes the pouch forward. Your father takes it. No hesitation. No protest. No shame. Everything falls into place so hard it almost makes a sound. The tears. The warning looks. The altar. The dead man in the portrait. You are not here to marry a living husband. You are here to become a spirit bride. By morning, there is no space left for denial. 2 servant women dress you in red wedding robes. They paint your face. They pin your hair until your scalp aches. Your mother stands nearby looking like someone already attending a funeral. When you ask if she knew, she covers her mouth and starts to sob harder. Your father enters before she can answer. He tells you to be calm. To think of family honor. To remember obedience. You realize then that whatever love your parents had for you was lighter than the weight of those coins. The ancestral hall is larger than any room you have ever seen. Wooden spirit tablets line the walls from floor to ceiling. Names of the dead watching from every side. At the center stands the wedding altar. 2 candles tied together in red string. 2 cups of wine. 2 cushions for the marriage bows. And beside one cushion sits a life-sized paper effigy dressed as a groom. Its painted smile never changes. Above it hangs the same portrait from your room. Your dead husband is already waiting. The priest begins chanting before you can step back. Someone grips your elbow. Someone else places a cup in your hands. The hall door is close behind you with a finality that sounds like judgment. From then on, your body obeys while your mind retreats. You bow to heaven and earth. You bow to the ancestors. You bow to the dead man you never met. Wine touches your lips. Smoke thickens in the air. When the priest slides an iron ring onto your finger, it is so cold it burns. At that exact moment, the candles bend sideways as if pushed by breath, though no wind enters the room. A sound leaves your throat. You are not sure if it is a sob or a prayer. By the time the ceremony ends, you are no longer a daughter from a farming village. You are the widow of a dead man. That is the real meaning of being a spirit bride. Not romance. not honor. Not some beautiful old custom people whisper about like it belongs to poetry. It means your mornings belong to an altar. Before sunrise, every day, you light incense for the husband you never met. You replace fruit. You burn paper offerings. You bow until your knees harden against the floor. The household explains it. Plainly enough, an unmarried dead son becomes a hungry ghost, restless and dangerous. A wife gives him order. A wife gives him company. A wife keeps misfortune away from the family. And you, apparently, are cheaper than a haunting. Years begin to collapse into routine. You cook. Clean. Washington bow. Burn incense. Repeat. Your mother-in-law is not openly cruel, but grief has made her hard in all the ways that matter. She corrects your posture at the altar. She watches your hands during offerings. She reminds you, over and over, that you now belong to her son's line. You cannot leave. You cannot remarry. You cannot belong to yourself again. At 17, you already feel older than your mother did at 40. At 19, your husband's younger brother starts watching you too closely. At first it is only stares. Then excuses to stand near you. Then reasons to enter rooms without warning. He moves through the house like a man inspecting something he expects to inherit. You begin to avoid empty hallways. It does not help. One afternoon, when the older couple are away, he enters your room and shuts the door behind him. The portrait of your dead husband hangs above the altar, silent as ever. When it is over, you lie on the mat staring at the ceiling and realize the house has found yet another use for you. You try to tell your mother-in-law later. She tells you not to disgrace the family with filthy accusations. So now you understand the full shape of your life. The dead own your title. The living own your body. And neither side will ever ask what you want. Time keeps moving anyway. The merchant dies. Then his wife. Their tablets are added to the altar. Their surviving son, the one who ruined whatever part of your marriage had not already buried, becomes head of the household and informs you that you will now tend all three spirits. 3 altars. 3 incense bowls. 3 generations of the dead to feed before dawn. By 30, there are silver strands in your hair. By 32, a cough settles deep in your lungs and refuses to leave. You still rise before sunrise. Still strike flint. Still bow through smoke thick enough to sting your eyes. Your body feels less like something you live inside and more like something you drag from ritual to ritual. One winter morning, you do not get up. The incense remains unlit. When the head of the household comes to your room to punish you, he finds you beneath the red lanterns, still at last. One hand rests near the iron ring. The portrait across from you looks exactly as it always has, calm, unreachable, forever untouched by the life built around his death. In death, they finally treat you carefully. A family scribe prepares your spirit tablet. Your name is carved beneath your husband's and placed beside his altar, as if companionship can be arranged after the fact. As if the years stolen from you can now be renamed devotion. At last, the merchant family has exactly what it paid for. A proper spirit bride. A proper widow. A proper ghost. And somewhere, in another village under another gray sky, a matchmaker adjusts her jade earrings before knocking on a poor man's door. She already knows what to say. She knows which fathers need money. She knows which daughters dream in red. She knows how much the first pouch should weigh and how much the second pouch should silence. This has happened before. It will happen again.